Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Women's Entrepreneurship Week at Minnesota State University, Mankato. I'm Carrie Jo Henderson, a junior pursuing a marketing degree with a minor in entrepreneurship. And today I am so honored to interview Sharry Schmid, the president of Edina Realty, and a Mankato State alumni. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to, yeah, be able to participate.
Thank you so much. Just a quick intro. Edina Realty is the one of the Midwest's largest residential real estate firms. I believe it's the largest in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin.
Yes,
And you have been working there for 28 years now?
a long time. I like to say 20 plus.
20 plus.
I
I
don't, I
love
don't feel
that.
quite as old at 20 plus.
And in your 20 plus years, you now provide guidance to 75 sales offices and more than 2,000 realtors.
Yes, yeah, we're at just under, well, right around 2,500
Oh,
independent
wow.
contractors.
That is so cool. And working with all of that and organizing that as well.
Mhm.
Um, running like such a really big company and like just driving around, I feel like I see like Edina Realty signs everywhere. When my parents bought their house, it was through Edina Realty, like all of that sort of thing. Did you know when you graduated from university that one day we'd want to lead a business such as this?
When I graduated from Mankato, and I still say it, Mankato State, so you'll have to forgive me if I go back into old ways of uh, naming the school. But when I graduated, it really gave me a foundation to branch out and do things that I was interested in. I initially graduated with political science, so I thought I was going to go on to law school. And quickly upon graduation, made a change from that. I was hired by Edina within a month or two post my Mankato graduation, and the really the education that I got there, the work that I was able to do with an attorney that I worked with locally at Mankato gave me a platform to start my career at Edina. And really, from there was able to continue to build and move from different positions within the organization. Like you said, it's a big organization with 2,500 realtors, and we've got roughly about 400 employees. There's a lot of opportunity for people to come into the real estate realm and be able to have a diversified and very fulfilling career.
Yeah. Um, Kind of like touching on that point with the career, when it comes to you specifically, what strengths or perspective do you think that you brought to Edina Realty that really made you successful in your role as a president?
I think the ability to learn, and from that, not only day to day, but learning from your mistakes, because there's a lot of mistakes that get made throughout life and trial and error. So an open mind, like I said, the willingness to learn from it, to try new things, were all important. The critical thinking, when I think about Mankato and things that I got from my college education there, it's that ability, really, that critical thinking, and to think beyond my world and my bubble as I am, things as I knew it or was raised or taught to believe, but just really to broaden that. That piece has been, like I said, instrumental throughout my entire career.
Mhm. When it comes to other aspects of leadership in your position too, with all of the offices that you oversee, when it comes to guiding them and making sure that you are having like a positive work experience, what do you think is a really good aspect that people like me could learn from you in these leadership roles?
I think what's really important to any organization, company, regardless of the size, it could be very small to very large. It's all about the culture and getting in and knowing what that culture is about. Is it a healthy culture? And as a leader, contributing to that healthy dynamic. And that really is about bringing people together in ways that in the organization, that the people that are within that organization want to come together. And that's different. What we do and how we do that is different than some of my friends and others that I talk to, and how they come together within, like I said, from a small to a large organization. But it's really putting the people first, and you hear that a lot, and sometimes I feel like it can kind of get overused, but it's true. It's making the people first. And also, when you find that conflict, because it's inevitable and that happens, coming at it from a perspective of all sides, not only from your own perspective, but really digging in to understand what what are they, what are they trying to say? Where are they coming from? While I may not always agree with it, I respect where they're coming from. And that's an important piece too in leadership. And that takes time to continually develop and hone those skills.
Wow. I mean, that's a really great piece of advice, just learning that and getting the experience to see from different perspectives. I was really interested in reading up on you on LinkedIn. I loved reading through your journey, growing within Edina Realty. It was really inspiring to me, just sticking in and the different promotions and growth that you had. So when you started, after graduating, how has the landscape for women in real estate and positions of leadership changed since when you started at Edina Realty to what you see today in the 2020s?
I would say for real estate specifically, we've got a lot of female realtors, and in our management level, we do have a fair number of females. But I would tell you that at an executive level, or what some refer to as the C-suite, it is still more, it is dominated more by males. Even within our own organization, and at this level, there's only three of us, and the rest are males. And so that is something I'm conscious of, and it's something that I am aware of, and in hiring practices to look at, yeah, again, that whole, diverse component along with who's the most qualified, and that's the piece that you look at. But I do think in a lot of industries still there, while women have made a lot of progress, there's still in many situations, I think you're going to see in a boardroom, it is still stronger, and not emphasis, that's the wrong word, but there tends to skew more male dominated.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good position, even just in college too, like leadership positions that even students can take. I feel like we still see that. So it's kind of
Mhm.
inspiring seeing your position at it and watching your growth pattern too. Overall, I'm actually really interested in real estate. I love that you are in such a high leadership position within Edina Realty. And one of like my biggest interests too is with all of these technology changes to the real estate landscape, how do you kind of see it evolving in the future? Or how has it maybe affected you in like the past few years as well? Do you have any big part that you see in it?
Well, technology always, continues to evolve. I started at a time when, and this is really going to date myself, but I started at a time when this thing called email, was first being introduced to the world and to real estate. With that, the internet, and taking all of our listings and all of our real estate, taking that online. They used to come in books. You'd have to come in and meet with a realtor and go through a book, if you can imagine that. So we've seen, a tremendous transformation in the industry in terms of technology and where and how that's going to guide us. I think the big thing that we'll watch going forward is AI, and how that will aid and assist realtors in particular in putting together contracts and simplifying that process and that component of it. I think it will also, and already is, starting to assist them in some of their marketing efforts and their marketing reach, to be able to, because again, these are independent business owners, which is one of the challenges, but also one of the things I love about the business is that you get to work with so many different smaller businesses. And, my role is to help guide that and to help them to achieve the goals that they're looking to ultimately to obtain. So AI with that is also going to help them not only on the transactional side and making that piece of it easier, but also on the marketing of their business.
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about how it could affect marketing too. I've seen different like pieces with like augmented reality with like the new real estate developments too, which have been really interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how it kind of evolves over the next 5 years, gearing up for buying my own house one day as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Any last comments or questions that you would want to tell a student in entrepreneurship today that they should learn before continuing with pursuing a career?
You know, I guess one thing that comes to mind, there's a great book out there by Sheryl Sandborn, and she was an executive at Facebook. It's called Lean In. And so it was something recommended to me by our former president and a mentor to me. I read that, and there's some great points in there for women in terms of, if this is a path and a direction that you want to head. You heard the premise of the whole book, and I would say that this is true throughout my career, is leaning in. And when tough situations arise, or if there's that promotion or that job opportunity or that tough conversation that has to be had, leaning in is definitely going to get you further in terms of how you're handling situations, how you navigate situations. It doesn't necessarily mean climbing the corporate ladder, but it does in terms of conflict resolution. There's no way to avoid it. There will be conflicts in, anything in life and in business that we do. But I've really found that to be true throughout my career. And when I read it, articulated and put into words in a way that I hadn't quite seen before in other leadership books. So that's one thing I would just echo, along with what she said for women, especially young women getting started in their career, to don't hesitate to lean in. It might not be comfortable, but that's what's going to push you and push you outside of your boundaries and ultimately what helps you grow.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely going to have to add that to my Kindle reading list. I always love a really good book recommendation when it comes to career growth. I just want to thank you so much for meeting with us today and for doing this interview. I feel like I've learned a lot through this as someone who aspires to be an entrepreneur myself in the future. I just want to really give a really big thanks from the university and for you sitting down and interviewing with us today.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I'm happy, for you, anyone else that's listening, that if anybody wants, yeah, a resource and somebody to reach out to, happy to be that person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.